It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.
Many people have asked Bruce about how to paint resin projects. Here's how he does it his way and what works for him. On another note, I still don't have a name. I'm starting to take it personally. Anyway, let's get started, shall we?
Hey folks, and welcome back to my channel. We're doing a shop video tonight. I'm in my shop. We are going to talk about paints. I did a couple of videos recently where I did a holo casting, and I said you could paint it, and somebody had asked me about, what paints to use. I did a few more videos, and people were asking me about painting. What paints do I use? A couple emails, and I'm like, well, rather than answer each and every email, I thought, let's just make a video about it. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I'm going to show you my favorite types of paints to use on white resin tonight, and we're going to do a little bit here in front of us, and hopefully we'll all learn together. And if you have anything to add, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear your method of, and if you disagree with me, explain why. Because I'm always learning too. Not always right. But this is an action figure that I make. It's a custom. It's a casting of a Star Wars figure that I custom paint. It's a figurine. The limbs don't move. And as you can see, it's bright red. It's hard to see. I don't have the camera set up for this. What I'm going to do is just show you guys how to do stuff like this. And I've got some stuff to work with that I am working on right now. And it occurred to me, hey, this is a great time to do a painting video. So let's get started. Hi, I'm up here. I just decided to shrink myself down real small and put myself on the top. I don't really have to be in this, but I want you to be able to see. But, I kind of want credit for my work too. This is what we're going to be working on tonight. I've got a few heads that my own custom sculpts that I have duplicated in resin with molds, and that's they're ready to paint is what I'm trying to say. I've got the body ready to paint. In fact, I started out, I already did 2 of them, and here's how they came out. They're all black for now. It's just a base coat, and then I'll paint the details on that after that completely dries, but it's not quite dry yet, so we'll leave that set aside. But I am going to show you how to get that effect. I use different kinds of paints for different kinds of things. This guy doesn't belong here. This is what we made last time. Whenever I did the potato chip container mold, I didn't know if it was going to work. I just want to show you guys that it did come out perfect. I'm very happy with that one. This is the figure I was trying to show you earlier. Get a better thing. And if you look at the painting techniques or the way the paint came out on it, it's nice and smooth. My hands are a little shaky, so the fine details aren't super perfect. In fact, I have a hard time with the eyes. If you guys are doing action figures, small details like eyes are really hard. And maybe I'll teach you in this video how to do it. It all depends how it goes. But anyway, paints. What do I use? All right, get this guy out of here. Let's start out with the easiest one. I have to paint this guy, this body. And I just want to give it a black base coat. Black base coat. Now, I've tried painting it by hand, which you can do that too. I find the best paint to use if you're going to paint everything all one color is, and I'm not plugging a brand, but I am showing you why. Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. Flat. Always get flat. Don't get the gloss paint if you can avoid it. If you have to, yeah, get it. The flat works so much better. And we're just going to do this one real quick here on camera. A little shaky shake. Got my guy. You're going to have to watch over here. In fact, okay, I'll blow the camera up real quick. Now, I don't know if it's coming over my microphone or not, but you might be able to hear a humming coming through the speakers. That's my exhaust fan. I have a coal cellar back there, and in the coal chute, I actually installed an exhaust fan to get rid of any painting fumes. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend just painting willy-nilly in your house because it gets everywhere. But always be ventilated. You know, it's not the kind of buzz you really want to catch. So, like I said, we're just going to do this real quick. Shake, shake, shake. A nice coat on there, make sure I get it everywhere. And, it's wet, so it's all glossy. I'm just going to set that aside to dry. But the reason I'm showing you about painting these is this is just a base coat. And that's why it has to be paint and primer. It says right there, paint and primer. You don't have to do an extra primer beforehand. I've had really good luck with this over the years. I kind of stick to it by now. Whether you're doing a Christmas ornament or any resin casting, it doesn't even have to be white resin. It can be the clear resin if you choose to paint that for some reason. But this is great for doing an entire piece. Now, the next We're still going to stick with spray paint. Let's get back to where we were. Now, that's great for flat spray paint if you just want to have a flat color. But what if you want, what if you want a silver color, which these are going to have to be silver. So I'm going to be using the same brand, the metallic paint, and it's also paint and primer. It's a little bit different. For instance, I'm just going to go ahead and paint this while we're talking. It's a little bit different in the fact that I'm going to just paint this and let it go. If I put clear coat on top of metallic paint, it dulls it. It'll look like garbage, and you won't like your product. So let's give this a coat of paint and see what happens. Now, I feel like I don't have to give you a lesson on exactly how to paint. You see what I'm doing. I'm keeping it about 6 inches away. A light coating is great. A light coating at first to see what you got. You can always go back and give it a second coat if you have to. I usually don't have to, but these will dry, and they will be usable, and they will be very nice. Same with, I want to show you the gold paint too while I'm here. I'm just going to, these are figure stands, and I'm just going to use metallic gold. Same brand paint and primer. And yes, I have been known to paint my own hand once in a while. So there's the gold, and I love these two products, the gold and the silver. The gold and the silver. I really messed up the camera today, didn't I? The gold, and these come from Walmart, by the way. I like the way they come out for making different things. Now, obviously, you can't. I've been known once in a while to take some of the silver if I need to do some fine detail, and I'll spray it into a lid. I'll save the lid. I'll spray it into the middle of the lid, and I'll use a paintbrush to do fine details. It works. It does work, but that's the last thing you would do after you clear coat something. Because once again, if you put clear coat on these when they dry, they'll get really, really dull. So let me set these aside so they can dry, and we'll get to what I have next. Okay, before we continue, I do want to say the reason I'm stressing use flat paints is they dry better. They tend to have less runs with a spray paint. The metallic, you don't really have a choice. You don't have a choice because it's just the way it is. I mean, it's got a natural gloss to it. The regular gloss paints, they come out okay if you're doing a big area, but it's so much easier to make it run. And a lot of the gloss paints don't have the primer in it too, so you have to be careful. You want to make sure you have these primed somehow, even if you have to go and use primer. The gloss paint that I just used, I sold that product. It was a chestnut gloss, same brand, and the problem with it takes 2 days before it's not tacky. This stuff, the flat, I can handle this in 10 minutes. By the time this video is done, all these paints are going to be dry. And my shop right now, it's 40 degrees outside, so it's kind of cold. I'm keeping my shop at about 72 degrees, just in case you're wondering. So now we are going to move on to the brush paints. I personally like painting by hand more than spray painting. When you have a big item, like I put the base coat on the body with the tuxedo there because, well, it's just quicker. But I really like taking the time and just painting the details. These heads are the smallest thing that I make in my shop. They go to the body that we just painted. I've got 3 of them here, and I got 4 heads. So if I mess one up, that's okay. But I really like taking the time, and that's how I take pride in what I'm doing, is using a paintbrush to get the details on this. And the details on this are really, really hard. And hopefully in this video, I will show you how to do the hard stuff. But for now, we're just going to apply a base coat. What I like to use is always matte, acrylic paint, quick drying, easy cleanup, apple barrel. This is from Walmart. I'm sure any matte acrylic paint is the same. And the good thing about this is it's always water cleanup. So, you can wash your brushes out. I have a couple of water sitting here to wash my brush out. If you make a mess, it's easy to clean up. If you mess up your project, you can take a wet rag and just wipe it off and hopefully start over if you have to. And I've done that plenty of times. But today we are going to just give these a base coat. A little shaky shake. This is the closest thing I could come to a normal skin color for what I'm creating. And some people use those little paint trays. I don't bother. I put it right on the cardboard. Right on the cardboard. Put in my brush. Thin it out a little bit. And some of this might seem really simple to you guys. You see, I'm just thinning it out a little bit with the brush so it doesn't get real thick on there. And I'm just going to paint his face. I keep saying about the matte paint. The reason I prefer matte paint is it goes on thinner. If I have to do 2 coats, that's okay. But it also hides the brush strokes a lot better, especially if you're working on something big. Your brush strokes are pretty even. I have to take this off camera for a second. But yeah, it hides the brush strokes. And there's the one head, if you could see it. I don't know. These are really tiny. Just to give you an idea of scale, this box right here is 1 inch by 1 inch. And there's the head. So that's to give you a point of reference. So there's one. And I'm just going to, I put them on these sticks so I can just put them in this little piece of wood I have off camera. And same thing. I'm just going to give it a base coat real quick. Easy peasy. Don't use too much. I don't want it dripping off there. I just want a fine coating. And if I have to put a secondary coat on there, I will. No problem. I'd rather have too little than not enough. I'll do these other 2 off camera just to save time. I'm sure you get the idea of it. Okay, the heads I was going to work on aren't quite dry yet, and I kind of want to just get the video moving, so while they're drying more, I happen to find an extra one I had laying around. It's not perfect, but that's what we're going to work with. Now, I want to paint. I'm going to do the obvious. I'm going to do his hair, and going to use the acrylic paint. I want his hair to be gray, but not that gray. And so this is a pewter gray, same brand. Put a little bit there. Now you see that color. That's what it's going to dry as. That's a little too gray for my taste. I don't know if you can recognize who the sculpture is, but this is Vincent Price. Vincent Price. I want to do an old Vincent Price, so that's whenever he had gray hair, but it wasn't quite white. So I'm mixing some white, same brand apple barrel. Just going to mix it. That's what's good about these colors. You can mess around with it. Just mix them, get the color you want. And it's starting to look good, actually. I think I might have got lucky on the first try. I don't want it dark gray, but I don't want it completely white either. That's another thing about painting. You don't have to have an exact color. If it's something you're creating yourself, it doesn't have to be an exact color. That looks good to me. Next, we're going to do the eyeballs, and that's the challenge on this. So, I've never done this on camera before. This is going to be hard. I'm just going to give him some hair. If this is really boring, I'll skip through it. Once again, just a thin coating. I don't need to pile it on there. Trying to follow the lines around. Your brushes are important. I recommend not using cheap brushes if you can avoid it. Unless you get really good. I use some cheap brushes myself. And believe me, my painting skills are not the best. Not by far. You should see my daughter do this. She can knock these out in half the time. If I was a little more skilled, I would put some, what's it called when guys get the wings up here with the gray hair? Now, while I have the gray paint out, I'm going to do something hard. Vincent Price has a pencil mustache. Now, like I said, I don't have a really fine paintbrush, so what are you going to do? Toothpick. I'm just going to dot my little paint there. And this is really hard. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Boom. My daughter bought me these for Christmas, and I'll tell you what, they come in handy. I know, I look ridiculous, but I'm telling you, these things work. It's a whole set. Now I can actually see. Now, I don't know if I can do this on camera or not, though. We're going to try. Got to do it like this, guys. Sorry. But I'm still on camera, so. Just a little, just dotting right along where I want his mustache to be. You think this is hard? Wait till you see how we're going to do the eyes. Now, you might be thinking, well, why don't you use a sewing needle? I've tried to use a sewing needle before. It doesn't work as good. The secret of this is not to have too much paint on your toothpick. And that's what I come up with. Where are we at? How do we go upside down? That's weird. Everything's going wonky. All right, let me fix this camera. All right, that's good. That's great for seeing close up, but I cannot see 3 feet in front of my face right now, so let me put my glasses back on. And that looks pretty good. Should be showing up on camera. I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to leave that as is. We're still not to the tough part yet, and that's the eyes. I'm going to give myself a break and see if I can figure out how to... I want you guys to see me do it on camera, but I can't put it under the camera. Let me figure this out, and I'll be right back. So I moved my cameras around and tried to get a better angle, and I got a better angle for you guys, but I can't get a better angle for me to actually be there to do it. And I even thought about looking at the screen and trying to do it this way. Can't do it. So we're moving on to the eyes anyway. And I'm going to do the eyes the exact same way that I did the mustache. I'm using sky blue apple barrel matte. And you see a little dot right there on the... Actually, I'm hiding at the moment. There's my sky blue right there. I'm going to do the same thing. I clean toothpick. Oh, got to put the stupid glasses on. I'm making fun of these, but I'll tell you what, these are a lifesaver in the long run. Without messing up the camera. Yeah, I can't do it. So I got to pick it up. So I'm just going to take a little dot of paint. Get the tip saturated first, but not too much. This is so tedious. I can't believe I'm doing it on camera. Now, this is a spare head, so if I mess it up, it's not that big of a deal. Why am I using sky blue? Because Vincent Price had really blue eyes, just like me. That's about the best I can do, right there. And let's see how this actually came out. Not too bad. I mean, I told you, eyes aren't my specialty. That's not even the trickiest part, though. The trickiest part is putting the pupils in the eyes. Toothpick ain't going to cut it. Give me a minute. We're going to do that next. Making those irises, the blue eyes, that's not even the hardest part. The mustache is hard. Those eyes are hard. Now we got to put little black dots in the little blue dots we just made. And this is the hardest part, and this is usually where I mess it up. So before I go ahead and do that, I want to show you, if you choose to endeavor to do this yourself, practice. And you see I have some black paint here, and I got my toothpick in my hand. Practice this with a toothpick. Just practice picking up a little paint and making different size dots, or, you know, making lines. It might be able to help you a little bit better get through it. Just practice, practice, practice. And you'll see the very first dot is always the biggest, which might work for a pupil. And then if you just go until the paint runs out, the dots get smaller and smaller. It takes a touch. It takes a touch. And I'm not super good at it either. But unfortunately, I'm the only one that can do this. No one else is helping me. Now, back to the pupils of Mr. Price here. Toothpick ain't going to work. Not for me. We got to switch to a sewing needle. And I got to put the goofy glasses back on. I'm still trying to do this on the table, but it won't let me. I can't get close enough to focus. This is how far, I don't even know how far, it is pretty damn close to my face. So take your needle, same as a toothpick. Maybe do a couple practice ones, always good. And you see how much smaller the needle is making the dots compared to the toothpick. I want to get to the size of dot that I need, and then hopefully not screw this up. I've never done this on a video before. I have a habit of rushing whenever I'm doing videos. I can't rush this. Now, if you don't have these glasses, that's okay. You can use a magnifying glass, or maybe you're lucky enough just to be able to see it and you're not old like me. Okay. That's what I come up with. Is it showing up on the camera? Can't see till I put my other glasses on. Yeah, I think it looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but none of my stuff's perfect. Let's zoom in a little bit. Wish I could do that in real life. It'd be so cool. I guess it helps to actually put that on the screen where you can see it. But, yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, that's about the best I can do. I'll touch up the hair and do the final touch-ups off camera and, you know, finish the project. What not? Okay, how about what paints not to use? Oil-based paints never work good for me. They don't like to stick, whether you use a primer or not. They seem to rub off on resin, so I just don't use them. I don't like the gloss paints. If you're stuck using the gloss paints, the spray paints like I was showing you, or even the acrylic, use some primer first and see what your results are. My results have been very mixed on that. I'm kind of a stickler. I try to stick to just the flat paints, just because, especially if I have to use a new color, because I don't know if it's going to work or not. Okay, so here is our final products of the night. I took the liberty to go ahead and paint the 3 figures and just skip ahead, because I showed you the basics of how to paint and what paints I'm using, so you don't need to sit here and watch me paint every little detail. I've done better, I'm not gonna lie. I have done better. I think because I'm making a video, I rushed myself. But well, let's start with the metallics. I mean, look how that catches the light. It's the silver metallic, and it's really good for this particular product. Here's the other one. I really like how the silver comes out. I like the gold is my favorite. This gold paint just, I mean, look at it. Look at it shining. And this is a base for a C3PO figure with a twist that's on my eBay page, Jenner Custom Toys. Sorry, I do got to plug myself once in a while. It's what I do. Now, these 3 guys here is the Masters of Horror series. I haven't clear coated them yet. And I was waiting because I realized, wait a minute, when I do these particular figures, I use a different clear coat. I'm going to show you that real quick. I use a matte. It's right here. It's a matte clear. And these are the only figures I use the matte on. And there's 2 reasons I do that. First of all, they look better. Second of all, the little mistakes I made, when I hit it with matte, it actually melts the paint a little bit, and I get a really good effect out of it. As compared to, and the reason this guy's laying here is this one's done with semi-gloss. So if you do your castings and then you hit it with semi-gloss when you're done, this is the sheen you're going to get from it. So let's do these real quick, and then we'll talk about it for a second, and then I got something to say at the end. So yeah, well, we can just do this right now. Well, I'm not going to do all of them on camera, but you know, it's easy. Just a light spray, not a heavy spray. There, just a light spray. It's wet now, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and do these off camera, and I'll show you what they come out like with the matte clear coat. Oh, one more thing I just is sitting on my table and I thought of it. You want to see something really cool you can do with clear resin. This is just a basic clear figure. Showed it to you before. But if you put an LED light under it, you can make it glow any color you want. I just thought that was neat. Anyway, here's the final product on the matte resin, or the matte clear coat. I need a nap. Okay, the matte finish is done, and as you can see, here they are. Like I said, when you use the matte finish, it kind of melts the paint a little bit, but that can work to your advantage. In this case, it kind of did. It kind of fixed the eyes that I messed up. These aren't perfect. They're not my best work, actually, but tonight's video was about showing you how these paints work and what works good. If you look at the texture, there's no brush marks. I think they come out pretty good, especially like look in the faces where there's no brush marks. The reason Red Snaggletooth is in here is he is semi-gloss compared to the matte finish that I used on the other guys. And I'm looking at the camera. Trust me, in real life, it's a lot more shiny. And I don't really like that for these particular items. So just quick, it's done. I have to make the card backs for it and look at it tomorrow, see if I made any mistakes that I can touch up. But like I said, those are the paints I use. That's how I paint. I'm not the best at it. But, you know, the whole reason I'm doing these resin videos is just to share information and see if anybody can help me. And I'll try to help you with what I know. You know, I've been doing this for quite a few years. I know my painting skills aren't great. But I do know as far as mechanically what works. And that's what we come up with tonight. So I will catch you later. I have some other videos coming up, ideas. I still have to do that pressure pot video. I know I keep getting bugged by people about it. But that's a big deal, so I want to make sure I don't screw it up. I'm also still trying to find another bucket, if you know what I'm talking about. If not, hey, you know, you'll see it in the future. You guys have a good night. I am going to call it a night. I'm going to edit this video, and Betty bye time from me. See you next time. Bye.
All the crap Bruce made tonight is available on his eBay store. Jenna Custom Toys. Like, comment and share, please. It really helps him out. At least he's not one of those YouTubers that beg for money all the time. Good night. I'm going to go get drunk now.
It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.